Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. We're your hosts, Bree Gabrielle and Captain Rick Murphy, with a Texas-sized 4th of July celebration on the water planned for your weekend of reeling and grilling, right?
You're absolutely right, Bree. You know, the thing that's so awesome about this particular weekend is that it really...
Just one thing?
No, lots of things, but it certainly celebrates and allows us all to get together with family, as well as go do some of our favorite things, which fishing is part of that.
For sure. I think Dave would have to agree over at the PartsView workbench. What do you say, Dave?
That's for sure. There's not much I'd rather be doing than out fishing, you know, especially on the summer, 4th of July.
4th of July. It's a fun time. All right, well, there will be fireworks in the sky and the lunkers in the Startron Middle Fresh Region lakes, so let's go fishing with Matt Loescher on Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, Livingston, and Granbury. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Bree. Yeah, we're going to make a little around the Middle Fresh Region quick report here, touch on a few different species, and we're going to start with the largemouth bass here on Toledo Bend. We've had a lot of rain over the past few weeks, but it's finally let up a little bit. Now it's just kind of some afternoon showers, so things have kind of stabilized, which has helped the bite this week. Here on Toledo Bend, the water level is finally dropping after about 2 weeks of unseasonably high water levels. And they're still generating pretty heavily at the dam, so they're pulling a lot of water out of the lake. And so there's still some current, as well as the heat has cranked up, so that water temperature and water level, the water temperature's rising, the water level's dropping. The temperature's now in the mid-80s, and things are going to be changing as we get throughout this week with this water level dropping steadily now. So as those levels drop and those warmer conditions set in, it's going to drive the bait and the fish closer to the mouths of the drains and the creeks. The crankbait will be your friend to cover water this week and locate the best schools. So you're going to want to look to that Berkeley dredger in your favorite shad pattern. Any of them are good. My favorite is that chameleon shad. And then another excellent option once you've located the fish is that Bass Assassin tap-out worm. Man, that's a great cleanup bait. I love that thing in red bug or plum apple this time of the year. It's excellent on these bright, sunny days we have right now. And there's still great news on big fish here on Toledo. A lot of double-digit fish still being caught. Got a photo here for you of that's Mr. Brian Bezet. I apologize if I mispronounced that last name, but he's got him a real nice Toledo Bend 10-pounder there, showing off what it's putting out this week.
Nice.
All right, going over to Sam Rayburn. Water level there is on a dropping trend as well. But there have been some inconsistencies in the generation there at the dam. They haven't been pulling water every day. So check that Corps of Engineers page for that info. The level is holding about 6 inches below pool as of now, and the temperature is hanging in the mid-80s there too. So the fish are in a wide depth range because the lake is still pretty full. There's still a lot of good shallow cover in the water at that water level. So the biggest key to catching them when it's like this time of year is to target the best spot for that time of day when you're fishing. So if you're out there at first light in the morning, you can still expect some shallow bite. Might get you a little topwater action on some good main lake shallow cover, like some bridge aprons or any of the rock or trees along the bank, especially if it's got deep water close by. But that bite is usually going to die off once the sun gets up. And the good news is that that's when the offshore bite cranks up, because that sunshine helps position those offshore schools of fish for you. And you can find them in about 10 to 20 feet of water near the mouths of the creeks, and maybe some even inside the creeks a little bit. So that's a really good deal there. You can kind of pick your poison at Rayburn. And we're going to switch it over to the crappie now, bouncing back to Toledo Bend, touching on the slabs there. The crappie fishing took a slight dip last week, but it's rebounded strong. We've seen a lot better bite this week. Catch numbers are climbing again. Fish are bunching up a lot better this week now that the water level's sliding back down. The best bite's been in about 15 to 25 feet of water. And it's about 50-50 on the minnows and jigs, so you can definitely use either one. But they are liking the slower presentations with the lighter weight now this time of year. So you can still use the live bait or the jig. Just go as light as you can get away with on the weight based on the wind and the conditions. And I got another photo for you of some real nice crappie. Got some guys that fished with me this week. Caught a real nice mess there. Going to make a good fish fry.
All right, keep it going.
All right, going back over to Rayburn on the crappie. Once again, some inconsistencies there because of the generation stopping and going, but most days they're pulling water, and overall, the bite's been pretty good there. about 15 to 30 feet of water, so the fish are a little bit spread out in smaller schools. They're not bunched up quite as much as we'd like to see them, but that's just what high water does for you. The good news is they're in a lot of places, so they're scattered, but you can still find them in a lot of different areas all over the lake, and the bite's pretty good. So just keep covering water, and you can catch plenty on minnows and jigs there too. And last, we're going to touch on the white bass for just a second. Going to go down to Lake Livingston. Water level overfull there, but they're catching a bunch of them in 6 to 15 feet, bouncing up to Granbury, catching them all over the lake there, mostly on troll bait. And I think the south end of the lake is starting to get a little bit better there. So drag those crankbaits around and get those. And then lastly, Toledo Bend, white bass have been biting good there. It's either early morning or midday in about 15 to 30 foot of water. Jig and spoons are the ticket for all three of those deals. So be careful and have fun out there this weekend.
All right, thanks for starting us off, Matt. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan Marine Systems hotspot. He says, Toledo Bend, still producing double-digit bass and lots of crappie. Sam Rayburn is holding the fish in a wide range of depth, so keep an open mind. And then Livingston and Granbury both pumping out lots of white bass.
That's what we like to hear. All right, we're celebrating the 4th the Texas way with stars, stripes, and strong bites in the Proshex Middle Coast region. So let's see what we're grilling up with Captain Bink Grimes, the grill master. What's up, Bink?
We will be grilling up a lot of stuff this weekend. A lot of Proshex sausage. We've had a dark moon the past week, and that's afforded us a minor bite at sunrise, a better bite around midday, and then a minor around sunset. A lot of our water's been pumped back in the bay this week with the southeast winds. It's been pushing those trout to the shorelines and sending us in the summer pattern of fishing. This time of year, if you're not fishing wraps and mullet on the shorelines, you're probably wasting time. We're looking for slicks in the morning and wading through them and fan casting the grass beds and sand pockets with these she-dogs and mirror lures. Main Bay shorelines in San Antonio and Espiritu Santo are giving up excellent catches of trout. Slicks are showing the way. Best color's been those chicken on a chain Bass Assassins. Wading mid-bay reefs in San Antonio Bay is a lot like East Bay. It's paid off on Bass Assassins and Mirror Lure Little John's. Drifter's been catching the same on live shrimp under Mid-Coast Popping Cork and the Gulp Turbo Shrimp. Drifters in East Bay have improved their catches this week with calmer winds. A lot of 5 to 6 pound trout were caught and released this week on Bass Assassins and those Gulps under corks. Just about every piece of shell in East Bay has a nice trout on them these days. There's a lot of small sand trout in our bays right now, and those larger trout are shadowing these sandies, and they're eating them. Those 9 and 10 inch sand trout, those trout are really gorging on them. Bass Drop, Chocolate, and West Matagorda Bay have protected reefs with live shrimp. A lot of trout on those reefs. Most of the time, the water's been stained. The Norsey Cork can work better. The Freeport jetties hold the trout on mullet and shrimp. Deep reefs like Half Moon Reef in West Bay have been solid on live shrimp and gulps under Mid-Coast Cork. And then in Rockport, Trailer Island, Mud Island's been holding trout on sand and grass. Texas Custom Mirror Lure Fat Boys have worked well. This week's photo there, that's my nephew Wyatt Solis, old Possum Nuts. He caught a really good trout on Gulp Turbo Shrimp while drifting. It's been a go-to bait for us all summer long. We really liking those Gulp shrimp under those corks. Redfish action, most of the fish in about knee-deep water around points, guts, and drop-offs on the edges of reef. Those wading with live shrimp on under a popping cork's been tossing to the edges of reef and picking up a lot of reds and black drum. There's a lot of action for the undersized catch and release fish right now too. In Matagorda, those windy days, we've been chasing redfish in the back sloughs and bayous with these elevated tides. Maverick, Hidden Bow, Green Island, and Piling Slough has little clusters of shell all around it, and they're just holding lots of redfish right now. Port O'Connor, we picked up redfish in the back lakes on those fried chicken Bass Assassin sea shad paddle tails. We're rigging them on a 1/16 ounce chartreuse jig head. And then in Freeport, in the Port O'Connor jetty and the Matagorda jetty, always holds redfish this time of year. There's lots of white shrimp on the beachfront right now. Those Gulf boats will be start pulling and trolling for those white shrimp July 15th. That summer white shrimp crops in the surf right now, and those redfish are just getting after them. Offshore, the wind's been manageable this week. It's allowed the boats to get on the big pond. Freeport, a lot of those captains been concentrating about 25 foot of water for bull redfish, blacktip sharks, and big gaff top. A lot of red snapper being caught up to 20 pounds right now as well. Michael Quebec and Matagorda said that nighttime swordfish action has been exceptional. He's been drifting hilltops and domes with squids and staggering lines about 300 feet down. Most of those fish have been in the 100 to 200 pound range, and they're about 75 to 80 miles off the coast of Matagorda. Want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. Fire up the grill with some fine Project smoked sausage or any of their fine meats. We still wave Old Glory down at the courthouse around here. Be safe and courteous boaters this holiday weekend. Please continue to release more than you take. Catch and release is cool.
All right, man. Thank you so much, Bink. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the mirror lure hotspots from the Middle Coast region. Bink says the trout are good while wading sand and grass in Port O'Connor near the jetties on bass, assassins, and sheep pups. The redfish are biting in Matagorda around the Maverick Bayou and the cutoff flats on live shrimp. And then those red snappers are consistent, 40 to 80 feet of water on the squid.
All right, from bass to crappie, the bite is bursting like firecrackers this weekend in the Upper Fresh region. But first, Dave is bursting with excitement for rigs and techniques of the PartsView workbench.
I'm bursting. It may not be with excitement.
It is.
It's just fat.
Oh, come on, Dave.
We're going to talk about how to handle fish.
Perfect.
And let them go.
Catch and release is cool, like Bink
You
just
shouldn't
said.
handle them like this,
I
though.
love it. We'll be back.
Too many handles.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Fenwick. Feel everything. Bahio. Blue light blocking, radically clear polarized fishing sunglasses. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy. Fishing for adventure. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. Prosex Smoked Meats. Fuel your day the Texas way. And Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats. Eat, sleep, fish.
Well, we're here at the PartsView workbench, and we're going to hopefully teach you a few tricks and techniques about how to handle our fish when they're near the boat.
Correct.
So where are we going to start?
Well, we're going to start, it's summertime, the water's a little hot, so when we catch these fish, we want to try to catch them as quick as possible, get them to the boat, and then we want to try to protect that slime coat on them because the water's warmer, it's a better chance for the fish to get infections and whatnot that can affect their lifespan. So we want to do a lot of minimal handling. You don't want to, drop them on the deck, hopefully, and let them roll around on the carpet of your boat or bounce off the non-skid or drag them over the side. You want to get your hands wet and just lay try to get a good grip on the fish with wet hands to avoid hurting that slime coat. Same thing with a billfish. A lot of people like to drag them across the transom to get them in there to take a picture. It's best just to leave them in the water. Especially
lean over, lean
yeah,
out.
lean over and get your picture with the fish still in the water.
Yeah.
And don't drag them and mess them up putting over there. Use a landing net when you can. If you're targeting fish with minimum and maximum limits on them, you don't want to put a gaff in them and then put them in the boat and say,
he's too small.
Yeah, then we got to throw him back, or he's too big. We got to throw him back. Put him in the net, measure him in the net the best you can, or put him on a lipper or something. We've got some lippers up here, exactly, and that'll minimize his stress, and it'll also allow you to keep that fish or put him back. So, that you could also leave that landing net in the water, and it keeps him good as well. Don't ever grab a fish by the gills or the eyes.
Right.
Use a lipper like Rick's doing right there. The gills aren't a great place. If you have to pick up a really toothy fish, you can get up underneath the gill plate and go towards the front of their mouth, and then bend them back, and then you can get access to getting your hooks back and whatnot. But you don't want to touch any of that red stuff in there. You know? Yeah. Revive him a little bit if you can. Hold him in the current.
And you can use the lipper while doing this.
Exactly. It's probably a better way to do it is with the lipper. And you've got several kinds of lippers down here. That plastic one is great for when you're wading and stuff, and you don't want to take all your metal stuff into the salt water and submerge it and then have to rinse it off and clean it. That thing is bulletproof and will work a long time just the way it is. If you really want to, if you don't have a lipper, and you can't lip the fish, a lot of saltwater fish aren't like a bass. They have teeth, so you don't want to stick your thumb in there. A good squeeze on the gill plates, a light squeeze, just enough that he'll stiffen up. A lot of times that fish will calm down with a good squeeze of his gill plates. And if he has a sharp dorsal fin, go underneath and do it from below, like a pinfish. If you're any of those little fish with the really sharp dorsals, if you come in from below and give it a squeeze, it'll steady that fish and make him, kind of stiffen up, and you can go ahead and get your hook out. If you swallowed a hook, this is a great thing to have, a degorger or a dehooker. This one is both. This actually works as both when a hook is down deep.
Because what ends up happening here is you can certainly go and get the hook
if it's outside his mouth.
And yeah, exactly. And then pull down and it pops out.
Right.
But if he's hooked like in the back, in the crushers.
Right.
Now what you do is you take your line, pull it, get the jig head hook in here, and now you can push and turn.
Right.
And it pops out.
Exactly.
And especially with toothy things like a kingfish or
a
potentially a barracuda or
any wahoos, anything like that. You want to get your hook out of there. If it's a swallowed hook and all you can see is just the tip of the hook or something, it's way better to just the eye of the hook. It's better to just reach in there and cut the line.
Yeah,
and he'll be better off with that hook inside of him. They eat spiny stuff all the time. They're used to processing bones and spines, and that hook will rust away, and he'll probably be just fine. A good pair of needle nose pliers let you get deep too.
Yep.
Yeah. and if it's a shark, just go ahead and cut the hook. Period. Don't mess with sharks, even if it's a circle hook sitting outside the mouth. Don't get your fingers down there close to his mouth. Just go ahead and cut it off and let him swim away with the hook. Wear gloves. If you're releasing these fish, you can wet these gloves, and that protects the slime layer of the fish. It also protects you. If you're wearing a pair of gloves, it's less likely to get the hooks that you're trying to get out in your hand, and it's also better for the fish as well.
Good job, Mr. Dave. Lots of information there for you guys at the PartsView workbench. What do you think?
Great tips, good information. All right, we're red, white, and reeling in the Upper Fresh region on Bodark, Fork, Athens, and Levon with Mike McFarland. Hello, Mike. So get us ready for the weekend.
Hey, Bree. Yes, it's really settled here. The water levels have settled, and we are heating up in summer patterns just in time for you fishing on 4th of July. Let's tell you about the bass fishing first. We are looking at Lake Athens. Early morning top water bite is pretty good off the grass lines and the main lake points. The Berkeley Bullet Pop is going to be my favorite. And in my favorite color, the CJ Shad. That clear water of Athens and the CJ Shad go hand in hand. After about 9 a.m., move to the deeper grass edges and switch to a wacky style Bass Assassin trick worm. Watermelon candy, watermelon red. The key is to seeing those watermelon patterns and dip the tail chartreuse about 1 inch, and you can clean up the fish the rest of the day. I really like that. When you're doing Bodark, top waters in the morning, main lake timber, grass, anything you can find. Then the rest of the day, this is an awesome bite on that new Bodark Lake. But flip creature baits into any timber, which of course there's a lot of timber, but just go flipping the Bass Assassin Whoop Craw and green pumpkin with a tail dip chartreuse. I'm telling you, you better get a bunch of extra bags because you're going to go through on Bodark bass fishing with Jay Bonner. It was really good. The Whoop Craw and Bass Assassin. All right, Ray Hubbard, Joe Shipley says the water temperatures there are in the mid 80s. Lake is full pool, and he has a buzzbait bite around the morning rock, or in the morning around the rocky banks, any riprap or rock. And then again, there moved to the rock deep brush piles with a wacky worm, shaky head style, watermelon red, green pumpkin. The bluegill are really the deal right now. If you're around bluegill spawn, then you're going to be catching bass with those trick worms in bluegill colors. And then my favorite home lake, 4th of July, no better place to be here on throwing top waters on Lake Fork. The Berkeley Jaywalker is catching big fish on Lake Fork. Never know when they're going to erupt on the top water, and man, it's like a toilet flush. But the key is, I really feel like it's the shallow water next to deep water. And my Bajío glasses are really, I just noticed the other day that I'm able to see that, and a lot of my clients don't. And so I really see that Bajío glasses are helping me find those deep edges that are close to shallow water, the right place to throw the bait for more productivity and bites. But after 8 a.m., we are moving back offshore, deeper water, 14 to 18 feet. Carolina rig Bass Assassin Vapor Shad in green pumpkin or brim colors is catching a lot of bass. And look, this picture just says it all, because the fun in the guy's eyes of this, it says it all. And these are just a common, everyday Lake Fork special bass that we got here. Look at that smile. I love it. Smile along with the bass.
So happy. Love it.
Go ahead, bud. Keep going.
Let's tell you about some crappie now. Lake Levon, Kerry Thorne says the gates are open there, so it's really hard to pattern them. They're in 7 to 9 foot on laydowns. He's catching them all the way out to 25 foot in deep timber piles. One day the timber is better than the brush piles and vice versa, so you just got to kind of go fishing. He says when the gates close, things will go back to normal, and you'll get back to the typical crappie fishing you would expect. Jackie Wiggins says that Lake Fork's kind of in a little bit of a lull right now. He's catching a lot of little fish. I've seen more of the larger fish starting to show up in the brush piles and tire reefs, but they're full of 10 inches. So you just got to move around. The best depths really have been 16 to 26 feet, and he's able to catch a few crappie on bait. Most of the time, the hand-tied things and hand-tied small soft plastics, but most of the time minnows are going to get it done for you. And here's Jackie filling the table.
All right, nice job. What else you got this week, bub?
I love this little kid. Look in the middle of this picture right here. Look at the little guy there. He almost disappears. Lake Levon, we got hybrids that are absolutely fantastic. The stripers are crazy, 14 to 15 inches. Check the main lake points, 10 to 20 feet. A lot of fish, a lot of everyday catches. And here's, again, a great table of these hybrids and white bass on Lake Levon.
Nice. All right. Tell me about the kitty cats.
If you got time for the kitty cats, man, they are everywhere. All the lakes are awesome. Just a little bit of chum, like your sour maize. Chuck your chum out the day before, 5 to 15 foot chicken liver cut shad. You can fill your limits of good channel catfish right now, just about anywhere we go.
All right, Mr. Mike, we certainly appreciate your Texas studio for us.
Yes, we do.
Hope you have a great 4th.
July, everybody. Happy 4th of July.
Same to you, big boy. We'll talk to you soon. Mike says his hotspots from the upper fresh region. The white bass fishing at Lake Levon is as good as it gets. Lots of easy to catch 15-inch plus size fish every day on Berkeley topwaters and soft plastic swim baits, Bree.
All right, Rick. Well, Texans, if you're dreaming of blue water and big game, who isn't? Then listen up.
That's right, Bree. You know, the 44th annual Key West Marlin Tournament. It's set for July 23rd through the 26th during the heart of the legendary Key West Hemingway Days in Key West, Florida.
Last year's tournament reeled in a whopping $268,000 in cash payouts from the Marlin and Funfish divisions. Did you know that?
I did know that. So bring your crew, bring your family. Key West is certainly calling you guys. Let's get it.
Get all the details and lock in your spot now at keywestmarlin.com. It's coming up quick.
Come on.
All right, get ready for sparklers and splashes coming right up in the Heroes on the Water Lower Fresh and PartsView Upper Coast region. Plus, we're getting to chat with our friend from PartsView. So stay tuned and don't forget to stay up to date with everything fishing in Texas. Scan that QR code on your screen. Follow us on social media. Catch the latest fishing adventures on our YouTube channel, Captain Rick Murphy, and check out our show merchandise to gear up in style. We'll be back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. Abyss Battery. Power your pursuit. Rodan. Set it, forget it, catch more fish. Phillips and Jordan. Building critical infrastructure that matters. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome. And Penn. Let the battle begin.
Well, as you can see, joining me now is John Boyle, the president of PartsView. You know, John, we've been advertising PartsView, talking about PartsView this whole season here on the Texas Insider Fish Report. But why don't we get into some detail about what PartsView is? So go ahead.
In its basic format, Captain, it's an e-commerce company. But what it really is a team of people, boaters, fishermen that are just dedicated to making sure that if you need parts to maintain your boat or get your boat back on the water, whether you are an individual boater, a charter fisherman, a mechanic, a dealership, you need parts, we'll send them to you.
All right, so here's an example. I need to change the oil on my Chitim. So what can I do? I just go on the website?
So you've got the Find Engine or Search My Engine sitting in the upper right-hand corner. You put the information in. It's going to basically walk you through all the way down to if you're doing an oil change kit, you want to do a maintenance kit, you need a 100-hour kit, it'll get you right to what you need. we put it in a box and send it right to your door.
Now, what engine manufacturers do you cover?
Currently, we have Yamaha, Mercury, and Suzuki are the 3 OEMs we work with.
All right, so perfect. So let me ask you something. You know, a lot of times that you need something other than maybe in a kit. So you guys, like if you're a professional mechanic, those guys are really sharp about fixing maybe a broken part on a cowling. Tell us a little bit about that part of your business.
It's a growing part, but basically we have a complete schematics on these engines going all the way back to, I believe, 1985 right now. And as you can imagine, you know, these manufacturers have lots of horsepowers, lots of different series, lots of different years. So trying to remember every part for every situation is not always possible. So again, whether you're the mechanic or you're the weekend guy working on your boat, you can walk through the site, go through the schematics, it'll take you right to what you need. Again, we put it in a box, send it right to your door.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the warehouse and the people. What about me? I'm not a very techie guy. I'd rather call somebody on the phone. Do we offer something?
Call us on the phone. You can go ahead and chat with us online. You can send us an email once you're on the site. It'll walk you through how to do all of that. We have some of the friendliest, knowledgeable people who are just waiting to talk to you. They'll go ahead and take your information, walk you through the schematics, and again, ensure that you get exactly what you need right away.
All right, so tell me where we can go to find out more information about PartsView.
You go to PartsView.com. You can call us at 888-625-5460. We're here ready, waiting for people to come on, and we'll get you some parts.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Did a
Captain.
great
Appreciate
job.
it. Thank you.
Bree, we've got to go to another region, so please take us away.
Yes, we do. Well, flags are flying and the bass are biting in the Heroes on the Water Lower Fresh region. So let the celebrations begin with Matt Reed. Go for it, Matt.
All right, Bree. Yeah, let's kick this thing off with the bass down in my part of the world. The Falcon Lake bass are keeping people really happy. The bite is very consistent in 10 to 20 feet of water on rock structure. Look for the ledges with sharp drops. When the bass are most aggressive, they'll position right on top of that break, up above the drop off, up on the flat part. These fish will bite the Berkeley Dime 15 crankbait extremely well. Blueback chartreuse is my number one color. When they're not quite as aggressive, they tend to sit off the side of those drops right at the base of where it levels out at the base. But they will still definitely bite. Soft plastics are your best option for those fish. Shaky head or a big 10-inch power worm are great options to catch those fish. When you're down here, just ignore the heat, as the midday bite will be your most active period. Greg Boyk sent a report from Fayette County. It's been very consistent. There's still good solid schools out on the main lake drop-offs and road beds. Carolina rigs and shaky heads, rigged with soft plastic stick baits are your best presentation. Blue fleck, red bug, green pumpkin, magic are your favorite colors. Greg Boyk sent a report from that Austin area. Lake Travis is still fishing decent. His numbers are down a little bit, but the grass and ledges are still producing. You want to throw your Texas rig soft plastics, in the grass. Also, the swim baits on underspin heads are working really well, especially for the schooling bass. They're starting to bust on top, so keep your eyes open. The real clear colored bullet pops are great for those schooling fish as well. If you want to target a big fish, get your jig out in that 15 to 25 feet of water on some of the offshore deep ledge drops there, the rock drops at Travis. Inks Lake's fishing really good. The fish are around the docks and shallow grass. Throw you a Swamp Lord frog up on that grass or up under the docks. That gets some very exciting explosions. That's a fun way to fish because it's so visual. The other bite is flipping any type of wood cover you can see, laydowns or brush piles, with a creature bait. That's the best way to catch those fish on that wood. Lake Bastrop, the schoolies are getting to be going really good. You want to throw a small, clear top water into that surface activity. It imitates the shad as best as possible. You can also throw real small swim baits and shad colors on a 1/8 ounce jig head or an underspin. And don't forget to drag a shaky head with a watermelon color with a dip chartreuse tail when they go back down to cover that depth zone. Got 3 bass pictures. Got Greg Boyk and his client with a Fayette County fish. And I got Brian Cotter and a young man with a fun catch from Lake Travis. And I've got Greg Boyk again from Fayette County with another nice Fayette County bass.
Nice. All right. Tell us about the kitty cats there, boss.
All right. Ram Reyes sent me a report from Falcon. He said the bite for the trophy catfish is finally picking back up. They're in that 5 to 10 feet of water at night. Night has been a key for him. Live bait or fresh cut bait has been the ticket for those trophy cats. Keeper cats are in 3 to 10 feet of water around the timber. Shrimp and fresh cut bait has worked really well on just your regular, slip sinker Carolina rig type presentation. Also, he sent me a report from the alligator gar. Falcon, the garfish is picked up in places, some of the main creeks like the Vallejo and the Tigers have been producing really well for rod and reel gar. You want to use big cut carp or tilapia has been the bait of choice. Fish the flats in that 3 to 10 foot range, and they're catching a lot of really big gar right now. And as always, when it gets hot, the bow fishing for the gar, hunting them with a bow and arrow has been excellent in the same areas. We got a picture there of Ram with a crew with a great big alligator gar laying up there. It's amazing how big those fish get in the freshwater.
It's amazing that they just catch them, man. I want to go do that so bad. Would you go with me if I set it up, Matt?
I bet we could get that done.
All right, bub. Well, sounds like a date. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the lower fresh hotspot region. So he says Lake Bastrop. It's generating a bunch of action. Summer surface schooling bass are in full swing. The best option are small swim baits and clear pattern jaywalkers. And after they go down, then throw a shaky head with a watermelon finesse worm to keep the action rolling. What do you think?
I think you're going gar fishing.
I think so.
That's what it sounds like. All right, the Phillips and Jordan Upper Coast region is full of patriotic pride. So Captain Mickey, tell us how we're getting red snapper and redfish to the boat.
Well, hello, Bree and Rick. Let's get all started up with the Phillips and Jordan Upper Texas Coast region. Let's start off in Galveston, speckled trout. Speckled trout action right now is red hot. It's as good as you can get it around here. And all the lower end of the 600 square mile complex is just loaded with trout right now. Fish movements, they're stable after all the fresh water, and they're kind of hanging in the same familiar areas. West Bay, it continues to produce the best quality specs along that south shoreline there and behind San Luis Pass. Lure fishermen and live bait fishermen are really enjoying some beautiful catches right now. And East Bay's hot too. Specs are, right now they're catching them real early in the morning for wade fishermen, throwing chartreuse, silver glitter, bass, assassin, sea shads. Rig them with an 1/8 ounce Pro Elite jig head and working under the rafts of mullet and other bait fish like shad and finger mullet. 2 to 3 feet of water is your best bet for catching these fish early in the morning, and they're stacked up between along that south shoreline between Stingray Cut and Seavers Cut. And then later in the day, you can go out and fish the deeper oyster beds in 6 feet of water. They're producing good numbers of trout throughout the day under slicks and bait fish. And Campbell Bay is still showing good numbers of tide runner specks coming in through the jetties. They're hanging out over shell along a rock growing. Soft plastics in 5 feet of water is working really good. Chartreuse is the best color right now. Water clarity is good, 87 degrees. And lower Galveston Bay near Texas City and all the Dollar Reef area, it's producing good numbers of solid specs. Bass Assassin Sea Shads are working really good right now. And that 4-inch Gulf Turbo Shrimp is pretty hot right now too, especially in chartreuse colors. Water conditions are good. All right, let's slide over to Sabine Lake, and it's starting to improve over there, the water conditions especially. They're improving daily with lower wind speeds and less fresh water. And the jetties fished early with soft plastics and live shrimp. They're producing very nice specs. And the lower channel, right below the causeway near Lighthouse Cove and the LNG plant, they're holding good numbers of fish over shell ledges in about 6 to 8 feet of water. Throw soft plastics and pearl and chartreuse for best results. And water clarity is fair and 87 degrees. And speckled trout photo this week, that is Dan Hamill. And let's get going on redfish here. Galveston jetties north and south, they're still holding a lot of good numbers of redfish. Better numbers of slot reds are coming on live shrimp, red crankbaits, and Gulf turbo shrimp. And early in the morning, fish real tight to the rocks. And then later in the day, fish those deeper drop-offs, as the sun gets higher along those ledges in about 10 to 15 feet of water. Water clarity is good and 87 degrees. And redfish action has been fairly good along the rock groins in lower Galveston Bay on live shrimp and gulp. Redfish action's picking up on the upper ship channel up in my area over shell on gulp, turbo shrimp, and crankbaits. Water conditions are still a little cloudy. Temp is 87 degrees in Sabine Lake redfishing. It's been fairly good depending on wind conditions. That lower channel area along oyster beds near Lighthouse Cove and LNG plant, they're producing a lot of numbers of undersized and slot redfish, soft plastics, and crankbaits. Throw bright colored baits, especially in that dingy water. And the Sabine jetties, they're producing fair numbers of redfish on live shrimp. They're free shrimping them with split shot and a treble hook, and water conditions are fair and 87 degrees. This week's redfish photo is myself and Captain James Plogg enjoying a day off and fishing together. And offshore, it's starting to really heat up. Our Gulf is laid down. Action and numbers of red snapper have picked up as these seas have calmed down. Outcast Charters out of Galveston is reporting solid red snapper numbers over hard spots and about 60 miles offshore. They're using jigs and ice fish. That's working best. And a lot of other species are being caught right now. I'll have more on that next week.
You got a photo there, shaky?
Oh, yeah, that's Sharky Marquez holding up a nice snapper about 60 miles out from Galveston over a hard spot. That's him.
Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Upper Coast region. He says East Galveston Bay, West Galveston Bay, Campbell Bay, and Lower Galveston Bay. They're on fire for speckled trout right now. Go do it, dudes and dudettes.
Dude and dudettes, don't forget the dudettes. All right, from the boat ramp to the barbecue, we're hooking into some holiday fun in the Lower Coast region when we come back. But first, Dave is getting us hooked on some new products.
Come on, Dave.
At the PartsView workbench.
They got some new products.
What you doing?
Cool. Yeah, we got rods, we got some sunglasses, and a new color.
Ooh.
The 4-inch shade.
It's looking good. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Abu Garcia, Fish to Win, Fenwick, Feel Everything, Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome, Heroes on the Water, Paddle, Fish, Heel. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a Mirrolure. Front Runner Boats, performance-built offshore fishing boats made in the USA. And Startron, start, run, and store with Startron.
Today's PowerPole tip is about the new PowerPole View 4.2-inch touchscreen display. The PowerPole View is sleek, low profile, and controls all your PowerPole products from one device right here on my dash. The first tab is my anchor tab. I can run my PowerPole anchors up and down. I can also adjust my speed setting from fast, medium, and slow. The next tab over is my charge tab. I can see the voltage of all my trolling motor batteries and my engine battery. I can also adjust the priority if I want more power to the trolling or more power to the engine right here from the display. And if my motor won't start, I can even initiate an emergency start. And the last tab is the PowerPole Move screen. We took the PowerPole Move remote and put it right here on a touchscreen, so you're used to all the great controls. But the big thing I like is I can even see the head of the trolling motor right here on the screen. We all know people like to stand in front of the trolling motor while you're fishing, and now I can see the direction that the trolling motor is going. To learn more about the PowerPole View, go to powerpole.com, and that's your PowerPole tip.
Well, Dave, I think I'd like to troll the edge with Taco Marine here at the PartsView workbench.
Why not?
Dave, new products is what Taco loves to talk about, so let's get into it.
Well, we're going to start over there with the Bass Assassin 4-inch Sea Shad. This is a new color, and it's called the Flamingo Flash. And I like it. It's very flashy and very, very glamorous.
Yes.
Very flamingo-y. It's a great soft bait for any kind of jig head you want to put it on. You can put it under a popping cork. You can just drag it along and jerk it a little bit. It's a great soft bait. It's got that really nice big profile, that solid body, and that wiggly little tail. Just does a great job of getting their attention. You know,
it's just the right color.
Yeah.
What I think makes this bait so successful is that it works in both colors of water.
Yeah.
Stained water that they talk about, the Gulf green water, even a little bit of muddy water.
Right. Well, it's a great search bait, and like I said, you can retrieve it or jig it, and go to bassassassin.com to get that.
All right. So
Next, we have these are the Trocar assist hook with a Kevlar cord. It's the TK23. It's a great replacement for your vertical jigs. You know, after a while, the jigs, the hooks on there will start to get frayed, and you know, toothy critters get a hold of them. And so it comes a time when you can still reuse that jig just by putting a new set of hooks on it. And these are the Trocar hooks with the triple-sided. They go in incredibly easy, you know, like 10
Super
times,
strong.
25 times easier than a regular hook. Built with a super tough Kevlar line. That's 300-pound test Kevlar line on there.
Wow.
So it's not going anywhere. They have a 1.0, a 3.0, a 5.0, and a 7.0. So any kind of jig you're using, they have a hook for it. Forged shank on the hooks so they're extra strong with a small diameter, which is what you want on a jig.
Right.
And they're just a great replacement hook for any kind of deep jigging.
Again, where do we go?
EagleClaw.com.
American made right here in the US of A.
Next, we have the Fenwick World Class Bass Casting Rod. This is a 36-ton graphite blend with a proprietary resin. It's tailored foregrip up here, and it's very short, so that you can put your forefinger out there on the blank for a better feel. It's got a multi-material split length or full length grips on there, and you know, it just feels really good in your hand. Interlocking part lines, all these part lines and stuff are really smooth transitions.
Yes.
It just looks really nice, and you can tell it's one of their higher end rods. Contoured rod butt, and a limited lifetime warranty.
Wow.
Nice ergonomic. Plus, with the blank rolling through the guide, I mean
Through the grip.
Through the grip. And it's just a really nice rod. Just really nice.
Where do we go?
FenwickFishing.com.
Fenwick Fishing.
Titanium guide, super thin zirconium inserts as well.
Okay.
Next, we have the Bahio sunglasses. This is the Chelum. They're fashionable and fishable. These are medium size, medium wrap around. Suits a variety of face types for both boys and girls. It's very grippy contact points on the nose and on the temples as well. And the polarized lenses that makes Bahio so good.
The color name of this frame, Dave?
Yes, that is the red yellow sky matte.
Sky matte.
Yeah, that's the new color. And they have a dark blue glass and a tortoise rose as well. So,
all right.
Really nice sunglasses. 100% UV is, you know, and 95% bad blue, 90% of the bad yellow light.
And where do we go to find it?
BahioSunglasses.com.
Bree, what do you think about these?
She likes
babies?
those.
I love those.
She
Bahio
loves
has
it.
so many new colors this year, so make sure you go check them all out. All right, we're cast into the jetties or grass beds for trout and reds, plus snapper and cobia offshore. The Texas Lower Coast region is celebrating in full force this July 4th with Captain Chad Kinney. Go for it, Chad.
I tell you what, July 4th weekend looks pretty good. The weather's finally giving us a little bit of break here, and the fishing's really picking up. So, starting about the trout fishing, we've been talking about it a bunch, but it's been really, really solid. It's getting better with the weather conditions. We're seeing some trout green water. It's really helping out down here. This lower laguna cleans up really quick with the grass beds. So it's allowed us to also fish some of the jetty fishing, which has also been producing some of the redfish. So, talking about the trout fishing, we've been talking about for a while, but they're still holding that 3 to 5 foot of water along the grass beds and the sand pockets. Right now, they're still really feeding good and feeding really good on the live croaker. Best way to do is as a 5 to 6 out eagle claw tail hook and free line that bait out there. Or if you're fishing a really deeper sand pocket or an ICW or something like that, then add a little chatter weight to it, help that bait stay down and get down through there, and it'll add a little noise to it also to attract the bait. If you're drift fishing or wade fishing through these areas, which I've been doing some, we've been using some soft plastics like saltwater assassin sea shad with an 1/8 ounce jig head, and that's been working really good, catching the edge of the sand pockets and the grass beds, and you'll hit the fish right there. There's plenty of slot fishing at 15 to 20 inch, and we're getting quite a few oversized actually. A bunch of them released right there. So we had a big group down. We had over 50 people come down, 20 boats, North Park, Lincoln, and had a good picture of a trout here with some guys having a lot of fun. We released over 5 or 6 over 25 inches that day.
Wow, awesome. Good fishing.
It was good stuff. They're a good group of guys. So moving over to redfish, they're showing up. I see these calmer days, lower coast, jetties. You can get up there. Best way to target them is use your Rodan trolling motor. Get around that outside the jetty there and anchor lock yourself in position and fish those deeper washouts and those eddies. Live croakers working really good on this stuff like that, or finger mullets working really good on a Carolina rig. If you're fishing some artificial, then what I've been going to right there is we'll anchor lock that Rodan trolling motor. We'll go to a 3/4 to 1 ounce jig head, and that Gulp Nemesis prawn is just working great. You can just basically strap it straight down or cast it into the rocks and bounce it off the bottom. Plenty of slot size reds, 20, 28, and there's also some oversized reds in there. I got a picture of Adam Taylor with that North Park Lincoln group that caught a oversized red there that he had a good picture right there on those guys.
Nice.
So moving to offshore conditions, they're improving and they're going to keep on improving, which I can't wait because I'm ready to get to the float rigs. But red snapper bites really been good. There's been some cobia also popping up, which we haven't seen yet, around the same structure areas, which is really good. So the snapper, it's always a go-to down here, especially out of Port Mansfield. We've got a lot of natural structures, state and federal water. They're great eating, a lot of great, catching and stuff like that. So with these calmer conditions, we're seeing some suspended fish in the middle of the water column. So what we've been using is an Eagle Claw trocar jig or that Savage Squish jig and working that middle of the water column. There's been plenty of fish. Usually they're 30 to 40, 50 foot below the surface right there. You can drift these areas and repeat the drift. If you're fishing a center console or bigger boat like that, and you haven't, or if you do have it, use your Rodan trolling motor like that, and it really is a big game changer. You anchor lock that sucker, you'll be right on top of that, and you won't even have to go through them. You're just going to hold them there, and they'll come up even closer to you like that. It'll keep you right on the fish. It's a real game changer, especially on those bigger center consoles. So, got a picture here. Went out on my 70-foot boat the other day and had a family trip, a little fun trip. Got a picture here of Andrea and Jasmine with a pair of red snappers in state waters there.
And they did a good job of catching. And what else you got for me this week, Bub?
Yeah, we're good. So we're while we're fishing the state water area, we're keeping an eye out for some cobia. We've been chumming and moving up in the back there. So they're picky eaters at times. So have some pitch baits ready. Normally have what I use is a 6500 spinning reel spinning reel with a blue carnage jigging rod. It's a go-to at all times. You can use a jig on it, or you can use an Eagle Claw live bait hook. Usually I use like an 8 to 9 ounce size on that, and put a piece of squid on it. Chum out the back end of the boat while you're snapper fishing, and make some movement or noise with the boat and the jig and the bait, and let them come up. They're gonna come up and get curious real quick like that. So make sure when they come up and eat anything, let them run for a little bit. Let them run for 10, 20, 30 feet before you set the hook, and then you'll hook them up. You'll have a great fight there. We also had a same group. We went bay fishing that morning. We caught limited trout, limited redfish, and then we went out offshore in the 70-footer and we caught two keeper cobia here.
Nice.
Okay, just living the dream.
Nice
Look at
picture
you.
there, Chad. All right, bud, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the lower coast region. He says, inshore, the trout fishing, it's been excellent. 3 to 5 feet of water along the grass beds and the sand pockets. The redfish have showed up at the lower coast jetties as well, and then offshore, the red snappers fishing remains good in state and federal waters with some cobias working around those same structures.
All right, well, before we send y'all off into this crazy 4th of July weekend, we want to seize the social with you. So here's what we found from the Gulf Lakes and Creek feeds.
What do we got?
So I've only seen this on video.
What's happening?
Now we get
They
to
found
see
a
it
bass.
for ourselves.
Another bass.
One bass.
What?
Oh, boy.
Tried to eat another bass.
What?
Oh no.
No
Poor
way.
little fella.
Bass on bass.
Bass on bass crime.
Huh.
So
Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Oh.
Sometimes it's been like a mullet or trout on a trout.
I've seen a big bass eating a big tilapia, getting stuck in there.
Okay, all right.
Well, we
That's
got a
pretty cool.
birthday.
It's happy birthday
for our
time,
girl.
Bree.
Yes, we do. It's
25 years old.
25.
She's so
Thank you
pretty.
so much. Yes,
Happy
it's 25 beautiful
birthday.
years. Thank you. Thanks everybody
Don't forget,
for
blow
tuning
out your
in.
candle.
Thanks for celebrating me. Happy birthday, America, and everyone have a safe, beautiful weekend on the water.
Happy birthday, Spence.
No! Not doing it.
Almost.